Christian teenage activist with Save Canada was arrested Wednesday in Calgary, Alberta, following an altercation with a group of pro-transgender protesters. Rebel News reports Josh Alexander, 16, posted on social media about organizing a walkout protest in the city on May 17th. In this video, a large group of counter-protesters holding transgender flags and pride-themed signs can be seen forming around Alexander on a public sidewalk. They began to attack Alexander as other Save Canada supporters tried to stop the assault. Calgary police intervened only to handcuff Josh Alexander and detain him for provoking the violence. Police released Alexander after warning him to not continue his actions in the area. Alexander described it all in a tweet stating, "Today I was handcuffed and put in a paddy wagon for offering students Bibles on a public sidewalk in Calgary," end quote. He wrote, "I was released and told if I returned, I would be arrested and charged." He added that he continued handing out Bibles and isn't ashamed of the gospel of Christ. Rebel News reports Alexander was suspended from his Catholic high school earlier this year. They asked Alexander how his protest for freedom and morals was received at school.
The principals hated what I was doing. They pulled me out for hours out of class and argued with me and told me what I was doing was wrong. And after one of the first walkouts, an Indigenous girl held an Every Child Matters flag, and I got pulled into the office and told by the principal that it was white supremacist.
Josh Alexander promises to continue holding protests for students and sharing his faith across Canada. Greg?
All right, that's something we probably ought to talk about. So let's talk with the CEO of Big Life, an organization empowering Christians around the world to reach and disciple their local communities. John Harima. John, welcome to Victory News.
Thank you so much.
John, part of the mission of your organization, Big Life, is helping persons of peace and empowering them to share the good news. Now, are you surprised when someone like this young man in Canada we saw and looking at right now is seen as the aggressor for sharing Bibles and the gospel on the streets of Calgary?
You know, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. We're seeing more and more of that in the West. There obviously is a double standard at times. And, you know, the Bible is being considered hate speech by so many different groups now. And the West seems to be accepting that. And we don't have the opportunity to have the same rights as a lot of people do. You know, even here in the States, you know, we have banks that are shutting down ministry bank accounts because they no longer want to be associated with anybody that has Christian morals and values. So it's becoming a very difficult time.
Yeah, it's a weird world we're in right now. And what's a broken world is what it is, right? Psalm 136, verse 23 and 24. Who remembered us in our lowly state, for his mercy endures forever, and who rescued us for our enemies, for his mercy endures forever. There's so many scriptures in the Bible that talk about God rescuing us. Now, here's what he did when he sent his son Jesus to die in our place for our transgression, become one of us. He rescued us. He came down so that we could get up. Let me help you with something about faith, because you may think everything's going wrong around you. And what I said to John a while ago, every miracle started with an impossible situation. Faith is not about everything turning out okay. It will in the end. Faith is about being okay when it doesn't. And that's what you see in Afghanistan. These people are standing in faith, even when everything else around them is going wrong. If you'll continue to speak the word and stay in faith, what we preach to you every single day on Victory News, it's going to be okay. God's got you. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, the psalmist said, or their seed begging for bread. There's a phone number on the screen right now you can call and have a licensed prayer minister pray with you and minister to you. The number is 877-281-6297, 877-281-6297. Name me another news source that actually will pray with you personally. I'm waiting. I think it's Victory.